Hi everyone, Kim here. Welcome to my gardens again today. It's been a while and I just wanted to explain I have been extremely ill for about 10 days with a bad flu and migraine. It just annihilated me. But I am back on my feet now, recovering slowly but surely, and I've been back out in the gardens and orchards for the last 2 days, trying to take things slowly, of course. Today I want to share with you what's ripe around here at Olive City Permaculture. Behind me is one of my pomegranate trees, my wonderful pomegranates. That I say that because that's their official name and also the way they taste. But ripe at the moment in this garden are lots of berries and cherries, so let's go take a look. So throughout the week, as I've been slowly recovering, I've managed to water my new seedlings and anything that looked really desperate for water. And I also have been enjoying a reintroduction to solid food by eating berries. I could see this morning that there's only one strawberry ripe, and that's because I've been eating them all along. And you can see, or can you, a few green gooseberries there. Can you pick them out? So this is the Hinamaki red gooseberry. Actually, I have two plants here, and this is only the third spring. They're 2 years old, and this is the year they were supposed to start fruiting, and they are. I'm so excited to see these gooseberries appear. There's a couple dozen on these two plants, and that's enough for the first year to make me happy. They do turn a dark red by the time they're fully ripe, so I'm hoping that they hang on and nothing else finds them before they ripen, because I'm really looking forward to testing them out. I think right now I'm going to go in and get that one ripe strawberry. That was good. So also my shortcake raspberries have been ripening this week, and I have been enjoying those. I've never really been a raspberry lover, but that's been changing this week, one little raspberry at a time. As they darken from that beige to light pink to a much darker pink, I've been excited to pick them and enjoy them. And really, I've only been able to handle them one at a time, so the slow ripening process has worked great, and they are delicious. I'm really glad that I found this variety, and I need to keep track of them, make sure I get to harvest them and nothing else. The blueberries are coming along, but nothing yet ready to eat. But this is the berry I am so excited about, so excited to share with you, and so excited to enjoy this season. This gorgeous berry that glitters in the sunshine is called a Gaumi berry. Now the Gaumi berry bush is hardy from zone 4 to zone 9, and it is such an interesting plant. It loses its leaves in the winter. It's deciduous. The underside of its leaves is a silvery, speckly color. And so as it grows taller, the plant, which can get to 8 feet, you're going to see that underside silver. And then the flowers are cream color bell drops. And then these fruits. They really do look, as they ripen more and more, like amazing glittery red jelly beans. Now, I've tested one, and it was still very tart, but it was sweet tart, and I loved it. It tasted kind of like rhubarb. Supposedly, you harvest them in late June or July, even August. I don't know that the birds would leave these alone this long. This is the first spring that my Gaumi berry bush has fruited, and I was just so happy to see it because I've been wanting it to fruit for several years. It's 4 years old now, and I was beginning to wonder, but it's kind of loaded, considering it's never had a single fruit before. Now, they are ripe at this point. From this time forward, it's about taste. So, you try one and you decide, is this the level of sweet tartness I like, or do I want it even sweeter? If you're going to go much longer than this, I would suggest tooling it so that you do keep the birds off. I probably am going to have a few more ripe and then tool it. And then when another maybe 4 or 5 weeks go by, harvest the berries and make something with them, a jam perhaps. I think that would be a nice way to preserve their flavor into the winter. I'm also going to be propagating this bush by cutting, because that's supposed to be much easier than by a seed. You can start them from seed, but you have to go through the process of first keeping them warm for 4 weeks, then cold stratifying. You kind of go back and forth a while. It's just much easier to do it via cutting. And since I am planning to move, I definitely want to take this plant with me rather than just rebuying everything. I'm trying to propagate as much as possible and take them with me in containers so I can start afresh wherever I end up. So you'll see me propagating these. But let's go ahead and try one of them right now. So on camera that might look like the skin is shrivelly. It's not at all. In person it's a little bumpy and a little kind of gold metallic-y. Now I'm going to pop it in my mouth. Here is the seed at the middle. The flesh is very easy to come away from this seed. You can't eat the seed, won't hurt you at all, and it would slide down real easily. But the taste, absolutely wonderful to me. If you like sweet tart, very sweet but very tart, then I think you would really enjoy these, and you definitely should give them a try. If you enjoy rhubarb, you would enjoy these for sure. In fact, I don't know. I have an idea of like mingling the two flavors and seeing what that does, rhubarb and gummy berry together. Interesting idea. I also want to try a tea with these. Gummy berry tea. But the fresh fruit itself, very nutritious, lots of vitamins and minerals. Oh, and this plant, this gummy berry bush, is a great nitrogen fixer. Yeah, it works a kind of a symbiotic relationship with Frankia bacteria, which collects nitrogen from the air and it puts it right into your soil. It's not a plant that needs any kind of special care. It doesn't need special soil, special pH or anything. It doesn't need a special type of soil. It really adapts well to wherever you put it. And once it's established, it is very drought tolerant and it's hardy down to Zone 4, -20 Fahrenheit, its roots can handle. So this is a plant to grow if you want to try something a little different when it comes to berries. Rhubarb is doing great, and so are all the baby chicks. My kids really helped take care of the animals. In fact, they did take care of all the birds while I was sick. And they are looking great. We definitely have one rooster. There he is. His big upright tail, his big red comb. That's Big Daddy. And he started crowing this week. I knew he would. So funny that last time, 6-7 years ago when I got chickens, I had 20 and they all were female. They all turned out female. But this time, Big Daddy's rooster, and I think I have another rooster too. One of the black ones is a rooster. Not that one looking up at us. Not that one looking up. It's the one that hasn't looked up yet. That one in the back. I think that's a rooster too, but he's playing it cool because, Big Daddy's in charge. So I haven't decided if I'm keeping Big Daddy or not. I liked having an all-female flock. I'm going to watch him carefully and see his behavior and decide. But yep, the rhubarb's doing fine. Occasionally you see a leaf with holes pecked in it. That's because I occasionally throw sunflower seeds to the chickens, and some of them land right on the leaves, and then wild birds come, of course, and try to get those sunflower seeds and end up pecking the rhubarb leaves. But that's fine, not hurting anything. All right, ladies and Big Daddy, we'll see you later. So these are the Titania black currants that I put in just a few months ago. And just look at that. I have some little baby currants on there. I'm really shocked to see that actually, because Well, I just didn't think they would fruit the very first spring after just being in the ground a couple months. I'm also a little surprised at how tiny those are. I don't know if that's because, they are brand new, or if that's just how big currants are. I'll have to look into that. Now here are those elderberries I put in the ground just a few videos back. And of course I'm not expecting any fruit on these this year. But I did want to show you just how well they have done despite being totally neglected while I was sick. There's the larger one. And there's the small one I went ahead and put in the pot. And then the teeny tiny one that I didn't know would survive even. Look at that. I mean, elderberry, they're just really tough plants. So this will be nice, these two elderberry. I'm definitely going to take that one with me and get another one or two to go with them for my new place. But definitely pleased with how well they did during the 2-week absence of the farmer. Now before I got sick, I showed you guys the surprisingly beautiful, surprising to me anyway, flowers on this pineapple quince tree. And I spotted a tiny quince, a tiny little fruit. Well, when I came back, it has grown, and look at that. I have a pineapple quince growing. But even more exciting than that, next door, the little Krimskaya quince I planted just this past spring, right here, guess what, guys? It has a quince on it as well. Look at that, a Krimskaya quince. So hopefully both of these make it to fruition, to ripeness, and I can test them together and tell you the differences. So pleased with this find, and that they did survive again the last 2 weeks of neglect. Another thing that has come ready to harvest this week is my Lapin's cherry. It is pretty loaded, and I'm pretty excited about that. It's always a balancing act when it comes to cherries because, as you can see, the birds do attack them. Here's what I do though, I basically eat the other side. But here we can tell that only a couple have been attacked by the birds at this point. I mean, I really did recover at the right time. Because often what happens is the birds come out and in just one morning or one evening, they'll decimate the entire crop. But what I find here is I've got tons of cherries, fully ripe, fully whole, ready for me to harvest. Well, time to get harvesting. Now this cherry tree, if I let it grow as tall as it wanted, would probably get about 15 feet tall. But I keep it pruned about 7 feet, and that way, with just stepping up on the edge of the raised bed here, or if I didn't have it framed with a wooden square, I could just use a step stool. With just that one step up, I can gather all the cherries on the tree, no matter how high. And I could keep it even pruned down to 6 feet, and then I wouldn't even need that one step up. I really like doing this because what really is the point of letting the tree fruit higher than that? You're not going to be getting that fruit, so keep it in, your convenient range for harvesting. It makes everything go a lot easier. Now with cherry trees, you definitely have to keep on top of them, like I said. Every single day they ripen a lot, and every single day it's a race between you and the birds. Now the nice thing is that when they ripen, they do turn color, and this deep red certainly sends out a flaming signal to you that we're ready, come pick us now. The only problem with that is that same signal is seen by the birds. So again, you're in a race with them, and you're both sort of eyeing each other thinking who's going to give in first, because you both want the cherries to get as ripe as they can get before you pick them. So it's sort of like, what is that game of chicken, who's going to cave in first? So you've got to be on top of it every day. I am just so fortunate that that exact time of harvest, which is now, didn't come in the midst of when I was knocked out because I wouldn't have been able to fight with the birds then. But I am definitely winning this year. Well, littered around the base of the tree, you can see cherry pits and half-eaten cherries, and that's me. That's cherries I picked that had bird damage on one side, so I bit off the other side. Why waste anything? And now the birds will take care of the rest of this for me before an hour or two is gone. One of the things when you start raising your own fruit that you need to quickly get used to and take advantage of is the fact that you have imperfect fruit, like this. Now, in the store, you're never going to see imperfect fruit because that's filtered out long before it gets to the customer. In fact, it's, again, that word I don't like, wasted. What I can do instead, aside from eating the fruit, like I just showed you, is I can take this fruit that's perfectly ripe, but that a bird has eaten half of, and I can, if I don't eat the other half, is cut this little part off and maybe plop the rest into a pot and make some cherry jam. Cherry scones? That would be really good. I have the option to do that whenever I want. I could come out here each morning and take a handful of these types of fruit that I pull off the tree and go, oh, that looks great. Oh, whoops. Now, other people might not eat that. I'd totally eat that. But it's an acquired taste, I guess. But even something like this. You turn that over, that half of that cherry is absolutely deeply, sweetly delicious. So yeah, you just get good at making use. A handful a day is enough for me to make use of. I'll either cut these and put them in the freezer and then slowly add to that bag. And then by the end of a week or two, I'm going to have enough to make something with. And now that I brought it up, cherry scones does sound really good. Now I've got a big bowl full, oh, it's heavy, of ripe cherries. It's easily 3 pounds. And those are going to be very good eaten fresh. So I will wash them and put them in the fridge. And we will be able to eat on those for several days. That's not all though. As you can see, there are still a lot of cherries left on the tree. Now, why didn't I take them all? Because these cherries are going to keep ripening. So why not let them? I can come out every day and check to see which ones are ripe enough that the birds haven't yet gotten. And we may even get to the point that I net it, but I doubt it. I'm going to stay on track of this now that I'm better, or getting better. And yeah, the birds and I, we're going to share, but we're going to let some of these get fully ripe. Now I'm a lucky person because I love the sweet tart flavor, and this cherry, even at this early stage of ripeness, is very sweet. But my adult children who still live at home with me, they like really sweet cherries. So I'll do my part to bring them some fully sweet. I also always drag them down here a few times and say, you find the darkest cherries you can on your own, and that'll be your reward. They'll be really sweet. Let me show you my other cherry tree, my Rainier. So my Rainier cherry tree is a little different. Its cherries are a yellow red, so they're not going to get dark like the Lapins will. They're not ripe when they're just yellow. They have to go yellow red. So this one here is ripe, and this one, and like with all cherries and a lot of fruit really, it is down to personal taste. So you're gonna have to come out and test a few and decide when you think they're ripe. I can see the birds have been thinking some of these are ripe. They're testing every day, and I need to start testing every day. Pulls easily off the twig there. And it's sweet, but it's not the level of sweetness that I love yet. Rainier has a very specific taste that I adore. I was told I wouldn't be able to grow it here, but it actually has done very well here. So I've been very happy, but I am definitely going to have to keep coming out because the birds live right near too, and they're definitely out here testing too. Again, I could net this, but I don't really like to do that. It's kind of inconvenient. I'd rather come out every day. If you weren't going to come out at all, if you were going to wait a week or two, then that's what you should do. But if you're going to come out every day, you just test one from the middle of a clump that looks like it's getting ripe, and it definitely is ripe, soft, pulled away easily. That's the best one yet. Very good. But I think they need another day or two. So, yep. This one hides its fruit better, I feel like. Yeah, when you're at a distance, you really don't have an idea of how much is on the tree. Birds see those though. Guarantee it. Oh, one of my favorite times of year. I do have another ripening fruit though that is going to be ripening over the next several weeks. It's been ripening for a few weeks, and it's delicious, and it makes the best cobblers and the best homemade ice cream. So yes, the other thing that's definitely in season right now are the mulberries. I have a very large fruiting mulberry tree at the back of my property, and when I came out this week, I was greeted, well, first I was greeted with this sight, just deposited directly into the seat of my chair, which I definitely need to get up, because if you've ever had mulberries, kind of like blackberries when you're out in the fields by the rivers, you know very well what they do the best. You know, aside from their wonderful taste, they stain. You saw how easily that broke off. These mulberries are perfectly ripe. They just fall right off the tree on their own, or if you barely touch them, they come off. And the same can be said when you eat them. You just hold the stem in your hand, and the berry slides right off. Now here you can see berries in all stages of development. And you can also see that I've allowed branches to grow far down in an abnormal way on my tree, and that's because it makes harvesting these very easy for me. And of course with mulberries, there are so many on this tree that I do not need to worry about all the hundreds that are higher up in the tree that the birds are going to get, because I won't even be able to handle what I can reach on these branches that I've let grow down low. But yes, just coming out here for, whoops, this is what happens, by the way. They just fall to the ground. The birds love those too. I will sometimes come over here and gather these up and take them to the chickens. When I move to my new property, I'm going to be taking several potted mulberries with me that I have propagated from cuttings. Mulberry trees are one of the easiest trees there are to propagate from cuttings. So if you ever have a chance to do so, if you have a friend who has a mulberry tree, definitely go over and take some cuttings, start your own trees. And when I do get to my new property, wherever that ends up being, whenever that ends up being, a year, 2, 3, I'm going to plant some mulberry trees within my chicken run, because that way when they drop to the ground, the chickens will be able to take care of it all on their own. Now, meanwhile, these delicious berries are absolutely great in so many things that you can, do with other berries. But the thing that I love them in is cobbler. It's like the easiest thing to make with them, and it's just delicious. Cobbler's so easy to make. There's millions of recipes probably, but you take the simple one that works for you. I always like to use gluten-free flour and brown sugar, and you put your favorite flavorings, spices in. Keep it simple, make it elaborate, whatever you like. But another fabulous thing to do with mulberries is make ice cream. I mean, it can be as simple as you buy vanilla ice cream and mix your mulberries in with it. Or you can make your own dairy-free ice cream like I'm going to be doing with these mulberries, and enjoy it that way. Now, mulberry leaf tea and mulberry tea is absolutely good for you, really healthy and delicious. So I will be drinking some iced mulberry tea this summer too. But yes, great fresh, but definitely stains. So thanks for joining me today. It's really good to be sharing with you all again. And as soon as I get my poor neglected garden back in order, few days I will be sharing some of the other things that are going on there. I've got new seedlings coming up, and some of the things are starting to actually get big and maybe even be getting ripe soon, talking about cherry tomatoes. So I will keep you updated, and I'm sure enjoying following along with all of you all. And if you are new to my channel, please leave a comment below. Let me know where you live and where you garden. Glad to have you here today. I'm off to the feed store, so whatever you're off to, baking in the kitchen, planting in your garden, playing with your pets, or maybe off for a fun day trip, you have fun, and I will see you all again very soon.